Right. Day two of Maryland Deathfest 2015 is in the books, and I guess a good night's rest helped a lot. Yesterday I was just running on fumes, and the entire night I was like, yeah, it's cool, but I just kind of wanted to get over so I go to bed. I got to bed, and man, today was a blast. So today, like last year, was kind of my big day to get merchandise. I'll do a separate video on that. But I got some CDs. Like I got the new Skinless CD and the new Vatnet Viscar album, which actually doesn't come out for a couple more weeks. Some shirts, well, way more shirts than I told myself I should get. I do not have room for more shirts. Um, that's about it. Uh, I like how they've set up the merch this year. Last year there's a big tent kind of at the end of the row of merchandise, and it just kind of was like for whatever. But this year they kind of designated most of it for actual artists to come and sell their stuff. That's where Cyanide had their stuff after I was looking for it for a while. And actually the coolest thing about it, Dan Seagrave, the artist, like the painter, had a table in there. And he was there, and he was for $30 you could get a print of these paintings he did. He would sign them. Like he had like the dismember like an ever flowing stream print there, and I think he had like the benediction transcend the Rubicon. So it's just like Dan Seagrave is probably my favorite metal artist, and just one of my favorite artists overall. Like he has such a great style. I if he's still there tomorrow or Sunday, I may just buy one of those because I think that'd be kind of cool to have. Anyway, quick rundown of the show. First band was Artificial Brain, who I was kind of walking around doing some shopping while they were playing, but they sounded pretty good. I actually thought they could have even fit in with the soundstage lineup on Thursday. They were pretty brutal with some like guttural vocals and stuff like that. After them was on the main stage. That was Funebrarum, who I was really looking forward to, and very heavy. I like Funebrarum, but I guess I just kind of didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, they're very heavy in an old school death metal kind of way. That kind of old school death metal that takes influence from like doom metal and stuff. Kind of almost like proto doom death metal, which was great. And speaking of doom death metal, after them on the second stage was Cyanide, who was one of my main reasons for coming. Man, Cyanide was heavy, and they're heavy on album, but man, live is just like a whole other thing. They did do a couple songs like more newer songs, which they kind of like have almost like a rock and rollish vibe to it, but the way they do it, with they combine with the death and doom metal, they exceeded my expectations, which was great. After them on the main stage was Valenfire. I again kind of took a second to go shop during their set, but I did get to watch them as I was walking around, and I spent like the last like couple of minutes of their set watching them. I had never really checked out Valenfire before, and they surprised me again. Like I almost thought, just like Funebrarum and Cyanide, they're kind of uh, combined doom and death metal pretty good, but they were also kind of like crusty doom death metal. Really, they exceeded my expectations, and I guess I need to check them out more. They were great. After them was Master. Um, for a band that like I've had so many opportunities to see Master, and I've always wanted to, but I just for some reason never had. Like so they're not really high on my expectation list for MDF performances, but they did really well. Um, I think Master has just like a for a death metal band probably one of the best like thoroughly quality uh, discographies. Like their newer stuff is just as great as their old stuff. Like and today just kind of proved it. Like they would play something from that first self-titled album and then something from the latest one, and they sound like they could have been written together. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say. Like for three guys, they sounded way heavier than just three guys. After them on the main stage was Lock Up, Brian Core supergroup. Kevin Sharp was the vocalist. He said it was his second show with the band, but they're really good. I didn't really know what to expect going into them. But like it was kind of like old school grindcore. They did actually their second to last song was a cover of "Fear of Napalm" by Terrorizer, which that kind of set the crowd off. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. It was like a lot more punk influenced grindcore than I expected. Um, Lots of like D beat drums and stuff like that, which was cool. They had a little bit of a technical difficulty um, uh, near the end of the show, but that didn't really matter that much. Good stuff, real good stuff. After them, probably one of the maybe the biggest band of the second stage that day was Au Noir. Um, I didn't know. I mean, their lead guy comes out looking like he has like a jean jacket on and shades. He just looked like a big biker dude. But yeah, I mean are one of the premier black and thrash metal bands, and they proved that they're that on stage as well as on record. People were going crazy for them. Huge circle pits, huge mosh pits, lots of crowd surfing. Um, they just played a lot of songs, um, and they all sound great. It wasn't I didn't think it was particularly very black metal-y, but lots of thrash. Yeah, it was good stuff. After them though, so with Suffocation on the main stage. Uh, so I've seen Suffocation before, and they were fantastic. So I was like, yeah, I know Suffocation will be good, but it's whatever. I'm here to see bands I haven't seen before. I think Suffocation might have been the best band I saw today. Frank Mullen is a genius on stage, and just everything is so heavy. Like no one can do like old school death metal, like slow to a crawl breakdowns like Suffocation. I, I, it was speechless. I guess. I mean, for a band that I've seen before, so I knew exactly what to expect. They blew me away, and I guess they were the best band I saw today. After them was Obituary, and kind of in the same way, but opposite. Was like, cause I've seen Obituary twice, and it's like once you kind of see Obituary once, you kind of know what to expect. Still a great live, and their songs translate really well live. I don't know, they just kind of go through the motions on stage. I think like the crowd loved it. The crowd was insane, of course. And when they played like Infected or Slowly We Rot, like people of course go crazy as they should because they're fantastic songs. But other than that, it's just like I don't know. They're and Obituary again, I think does have a solid discography through and through, but really their newer stuff kind of does all sound the same, kind of follow the same style, and it kind of shows through like live. But again, pretty solid, not bad. And then the main band that I think a lot of people came here to see was Bloodbath. So I think this was their first ever U.S. show, and it was the guy from Paradise Lost on vocals, not Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth. So the guy from Paradise Lost, I don't know his name. He did their vocals on their latest album, which I liked. Yeah, and his vocals they're not typical death metal vocals. Like you can tell he's most accustomed to singing like the kind of gothic doom stuff that Paradise Lost does. But like he could hit low guttural growls and stuff like that. But there were times where it seemed like he needed to sustain like a death growl, and it just couldn't. Like he couldn't just sustain for a really long time. Like I'm sure, like any seasoned like extreme metal vocalist could, but he did a great job, and the band was heavy, um, not like crazy breakdowns or anything like Suffocation or anything like that, but yeah, really heavy stuff. The crowd was going nuts, and a pretty good mix of new stuff and old stuff. Um, yeah, it was good stuff. After them, I came back here, dropped some stuff off, and I went to the Rams Head Live, and I caught the last like song and a half of Drawn and Quartered, who was actually so I know I have a CD from Drawn and Quartered, and they really remind me of at least this album that I have. It reminded me of like early Immolation, but live they were almost like like almost like gore grindy almost, like complete guttural vocals and grind like they're way more like grindcore than death metal, which really surprised me and I really dug it because I was kind of expecting like, oh, here comes an immolation clone, but they're kind of closer to almost like incantation meets grindcore, which is pretty cool. I kind of wish I would have saw more of them. After them was Darkened Nocturne Slaughter Cult. So, and they had a lot of sound problems. Like their second guitar player, like halfway through their set, just gave up and walked off stage. Like there was something wrong with his amp or something. It was feedbacking the entire time, and it kind of killed the vibe just a little bit. But once he went off, and then like it's like, okay, we have to do this as a three piece now. They actually, I thought they did pretty good. Their style of black metal is, I mean, it's very like chaotic, not really chaotic, but like pedal to the metal, kind of like nonstop. But it's not really like war metal either, or anything like that. Really good vocalist. They're spitting blood on the crowd and stuff like that. I thought their drummer was really good too. I just thought he did a lot of stuff. He wasn't just like a typical black metal drummer. So they made the best out of a bad situation, and it turned out to be pretty good. Last band of the night was Aternus. They were supposed to play last year. Had to cancel last second, so I was really glad they got to come up here. I actually forgot that they're not really black metal anymore. They kind of transitioned to like a black death metal, kind of almost like a behemoth. Um, and yeah, they did great. Lots of riffing. Again, for only three dudes, they sounded pretty heavy, especially compared to like this straight up like tinny black metal of Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult. So yeah, lots of riffs, and kind of like a death metal-y way to end a night at a place where I thought I was only seeing like black metal. So yeah, uh, today was very good. I got a lot of stuff, saw a lot of cool bands, um, and I hope the next 2 days are just as good, if not better. So yeah, tomorrow I think doors kind of early. I think everything starts off at like 12:15. So that's early for me, folks. But yeah, tomorrow let's see if I can think of without looking who I'm gonna see. Oh, Razor's the big band tomorrow. It's supposed to be Sodom, and yes, Sodom is like Sodom has been on the top of my must-see bands for years and years now. So kind of bummed not seeing Sodom. Stoked that I'm seeing Razor. I'll finally get to see Solstice. I mean, I dig the first Solstice album, so hopefully they stick around that. Who else is playing tomorrow? Tripticon. Like I Celtic Frost was my first metal concert, and I haven't seen any that didn't see them. Haven't seen Comedy Warrior since. I cannot wait for that. If something happens, maybe I'll try and head over to the soundstage to see PLF tomorrow. I really like PLF. And I'd really like to see them, but I'm not holding my breath. But yeah, tomorrow is a full day. At the Ram's Head, I guess I'll see Demon Sea, which is one of the first metal bands I ever heard, so that's gonna be cool. And Shooter, that'll be awesome too. But yeah, I'll come back when I'm done with that, and I'll see you guys later.